Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, dear audience. Thank you for your support to the Blender channel. Thank you for your support to the Blender podcast, the Blender Dare You to Dream and Achieve Your Dreams. Thank you again. Here at the Blender, we're happy to, uh, we are honored and we are happy uh, to be part of the Blender community. And thank you, everybody, for making possible to spread God's word uh, around the world and to be a blessing for other people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would like to share some information in regards of the importance of praying. Remember the prayer is the key, the master key to open the doors for the blessing that God has for us. The prayer is uh, very important for our communication with God. And the title is When You Do Not Know What to Do. Let us start. What do you do when you come on time when you do not know what to do? What action do you take when you see no useful course of action? When you find yourself having to meet some condition that you yourself have no power to meet, what do you meet it with? How fortunate you are if you have learned to pray. For if you have learned to pray, you have learned to still your apprehension, relax your body and thought. Turn your attention away from your problems and toward God. You have learned to concentrate your thinking toward Him, looking, waiting, expecting, willing, and confident that He is your help in time of trouble. You have learned to think what is good. You have learned to expect what is good. You have learned to call for what is good. In a cartoon drawing, two prisoners lie manacled in legs iron and dungeon floor. They are in rags. Their matted beard and hair have grown down to their waist. Their hollow eyes, skeleton thin. One of them has turned his head to the other and he said, "Now here's my plan. There is a sense in which all of us are in a prison. The prison is ourselves. The dungeon is our loneliness. I do not know the way out, but I know there is a way. What are you doing to extricate yourself from your own pettiness? And when you have become more, what are you going to make of your greatness? The Count of Monte Cristo in Dumas' tale lived for revenge, but this twisted hope has enough to get him out of his unbelievable dungeon and to make him one of the richest men of earth. In World War II, those in prison camp who survived in good health were those who survived in good spirit. They had not given up, they had looked forward to release, they had planned what their life would be when they were free again. They had kept faith. In 1958, in Nova Scotia, a mine explosion imprisoned 7 men for 9 days in total darkness, hundreds of feet below the surface, sealed off completely from any communication with the surface, in tiny pockets of blackness so small they could not stand. They had no food, they had no water, they did not know what condition the explosion had left in the mine. They did not know whether attempts at rescue were being made or not. They did not know whether it was even possible for attempts at rescue to be made. In these conditions, they survived 9 days. They sang hymns, they prayed. When one of them began to lose faith and show fear, the other gathered around him and took turns telling all the stories they knew of men who had been rescued from mine disasters. A man was imprisoned in a French prison. He was confined to one small cell. In the cell was one window. By standing on a stool, he could look out. The scene the man saw from the window, he painted it over and over. He painted on in any material he could paint on. He painted it in all seasons, in all moods, and he left a painting for those who came after him to catch faith from. In 1949, an English woman, Dr. Edith Bone, was imprisoned in Hungary and spent 7 years in solitary confinement. At first, to keep busy, she recited poetry to herself. She spoke languages, so she translated the poems from one language to another. Confined to a cell of 5 by 10, she walked home to England in her mind. She knew how far it was to the Hungarian border, to Vienna, to Calais. Some days she would walk as much as 20 miles back and forth if her 5 to 10 cell less carry her, but in her mind she journeyed freely and joyously across Europe. Each day she knew exactly what scene she was walking through, for she paced the distance and kept count on an abacus of how far she walked and where she was. This abacus she made out of pellets of the inedible black bread, which was her daily meal, and straws from a broom with which she had to keep her cell clean. On her abacus, she made inventories of the words she knew in all her six languages, counting up to 27,369 words in English. She did many other things. She refused to let her interests waste away. She kept herself linked with life. Dr. Bone was 6'1" when she was in prison. 7 years later, when the Hungarian Revolution of 1956 freed her, and she was able to escape to England, she was still healthy, vigorous, alert, alive. What have this story to do with prayer? You may ask. I suppose if you think of prayer as merely a formal request made on an external God, they have nothing to do with prayer. But to me, these stories express the very essence of prayer. Prayer is keeping faith. Prayer is making things hard to meet with a confident, hopeful attitude. We may use fixed forms and special words to help us keep this attitude. We may just keep the attitude. Both the words and the attitude are prayer. You pray when you turn your talk to life. You pray when you love. You pray when you express beauty and truth. You pray when you hold to hope and, or stand firm in faith. You pray when you have patience and fortitude. You pray when you expect good. You pray when you stay stronger than circumstance and reach beyond limitation with your mind and with your spirit. You pray when you refuse to give up, when you keep on, when you go forward. When circumstances stop you from doing this physically, you pray, you keep on going forward in mind and spirit. Prayer is itself a profitable use of your energy. All of us are most inclined to pray when we do not know what else to do. We are much like the frightened lady in the storm battered ship when she asked the captain what she could do, and he told her, Madam, you can pray. She cried out, God heavens, Captain, is it as bad as that? As long as we can see something to do, we do it. It is only when we are at a loss as to what to do, only when we do not know where to turn, that we are likely to turn to prayer. But this is one reason the habit of prayer is so valuable. Energy do not stop flowing because we are not directing and using it. It flows just the same. In fact, in times of crisis, the flow of energy increases. Crisis is a storm. In a storm, the wind blows and the rain falls harder than at any other time. The waters in the streams rise. But when we do not know what to do, when we see no course of action to take, it is as if we have thrown a dam across the stream of life. Behind it, the debris pack, rushing waters backs up higher and higher and higher. If we do not take control, if we do not direct this swirling energy somewhere, it may overflow our banks and flood our world with muddy ruin, or it may smash through the dam and wreck everything in its path. But prayer is like a sluice gate. When the storm comes and the water begins to rise, we open the gate of prayer, and the water flows gently, steadily where we want it to go, into paths of constructive thinking, thinking about God, about life, about love, about power, into looking and listening for inspiration and instruction, into finding faith and joy, into positive thinking instead of negative resisting. As the water runs down this course our prayers have dug for it, we find ways to use it profitably, to irrigate our emptiness, to turn our meals of creative thinking, to quench our thirst for spiritual knowledge and power, and to carry us into communication with others around us. Thank you, dear audience. Thank you for your support to the Blender channel. Thank you for your support to the Blender podcast, the Blender that you to dream and achieve your dreams. And remember that you can build bridges of hope in a sea of despair. And remember, do the best, and God will do the rest. And thank you for showing love, for showing and spreading love, kindness, and compassion. Thank you for being a blessing for other peoples. And uh, remember that God love you, and here at the Blender we love you too. Uh, Blessings for everybody from the Blender in the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let the pure white light of Jesus Christ surround you, you and your loved one, your family, and to give you, to create a shield protection, to protect you from any negative talks, any negativity, any evil. No weapons created or makes against you should prosper. You receive a full protection against any evil, any negative thoughts, any negativity. Uh, Blessing for everybody. Patsat bonum. The, all the good things in life happens to you. Que lo mejor de la vida te pasa a ti. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next time. Blessing. Thank you. Bye.